Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today we have some very interesting information courtesy of Lauren Whatev, and it is about the split chances going down across the board for ink, gold, crackle, and the combination of ink or gold and crackle. And this is pretty big news because, I mean, in Snap, kind of the end game of the experience is you're trying to chase cool splits on your favorite cards. So the fact that these numbers have gone down pretty significantly is a pretty big deal for players who care about these type of cosmetics, especially for players who are spending money for credits to chase these cosmetics. So here we can see an overview of the numbers and how much they have gone down apparently. Ink going down from 23.5% chance to a 16.7%, gold going down the same amount, crackle going from a 24% to a 16.7%, and the God split combination going from a 11.3% to a 5.6%. Now, you might say, well, what about the 10% odds? Didn't they say a long time ago you had 10% to get inked starting on split 4 and 10% to get gold starting on split 5? And that is going to be covered in the thread here. So let's take a look. This comes from an analysis of 36 players. Snap Variants, you might know from Twitter, theorized that the split rarities changed back on the August 20th patch. So took a look at the data, and that is exactly where it seems to be that the rates on splits started to dip down. And so we have a data table here, quite a bit of data. Like when I first heard people were saying, oh, I've just not been getting as many splits. Naturally, I think myself and many other people would assume, well, you know, it's a small sample size. Sometimes you have bad luck. I've had bad luck on splits. You know, it happens. But when we start looking at a larger group of numbers here, it does start to stand out a bit more. So we can see in the comparison groups here, we have the different split types. So rainbow, prism, inked, and gold before the 820 patch, as well as the after the 820 patch, and the effective change between them. And these are some pretty big numbers, with rainbow and prism both getting around 20 or above 20% more likelihood, and the ink and gold going down 20 to 30%, which is a huge nerf to the chance of getting inked or gold, which I think is what many people are mainly after. And because of the reduction to inked and gold, naturally that makes God splits even rarer as well. Apparently there was previously a special bonus chance for inking on 4, which has been completely removed. Before the 820 patch, you apparently had a 30% chance to get an inked on 4, which honestly, I think that lines up with my personal experience. Like I can remember many times getting that inked on 4 and getting super excited about it. And now it seems that has gone from a 30% chance to being just under a 20% chance. And the odds of getting a rainbow foil and prism have gone up because of that. And here we can address weren't these just 10% anyway? That is what was widely reported in the past. There was an image here where it said the percentage, and Steven did confirm inked was supposed to be 10%, but this was all the way back in beta. And it's worth noting, we've never really gotten any official confirmation since beta on what these split rates are supposed to be, which is kind of odd. I feel like that's something you should probably disclose in your game. You should let people know what the odds are. We've been running with this 10% and 10% for such a long time when that didn't even seem to be reality in the game. But, you know, it's one of those things that players don't have a great way of actually checking or testing for the most part. So people just go with the information we've had this whole time, even if it seems that wasn't correct. And here's just more about that. So back in April, running some numbers, finding out that ink, gold, and crackle were much closer to 25% than 10%. And apparently this is not the only time this has been discovered, but it's one of those things where players weren't sure if this was a bug or intentional or whatnot. So makes sense not to really bring attention to it if it means that you're getting better rates than were previously disclosed. And Lauren believes that the old rates could have been a bug rather than the new ones being a bug, and maybe this was changed inadvertently. Obviously, Second Dinner probably wouldn't dislike making these rare splits rarer to get people to chase them more and spend more money, but doing so without any notice would be very, very scummy, as well as just kind of maybe legally dubious. Because yeah, there are definitely countries that have laws about things like this being disclosed and numbers being changed and all that type of stuff. And the rates really should be posted in game. I hope if anything comes of this, it is that we do get some official confirmation in game, or at least maybe on the website or somewhere where you can look and say, hey, these are my odds of getting a split. It really shouldn't be that hard. That is information they have, and it seems kind of ridiculous that they want to not disclose that publicly. And then there's some talk of compensation as well, and I mean, I think that is justified, especially for people who are spending money. Because, a lot of these high value spenders, big whales, because oftentimes with whales especially, they have enough resources to get the next cards for the foreseeable future. They are not worried about that. What they are chasing oftentimes is just cool splits to make their cards look more interesting. And so if your odds on that are reduced, but you're paying the same amount of money you were paying before, well, you feel like you got a little rug pulled there. So I'm very curious to see how that ends up getting handled. We can take a final look here at the total data collected for this. It was across 36 players, 30,000 splits, 2 gold splits without flare back from beta. The most split card overall was Shang-Chi at 495 splits, and the most split by a single player was Abomination at 102, which is absolutely crazy. And I'll just bring the table back up here as I wrap things up. I just wanted to bring more attention to this issue because I think this is important. I think this is something that should be addressed by Second Dinner. Did they do this intentionally? Was this something that happened by accident? Was the old split rates actually a bug and they fixed it? Was it the case of, all right, they're preparing for a bunch of these new splits, and so setting up for that somehow messed with the rates of the old splits? I have no idea, and I hope this is something they are able to comment on and address. Because I know for a lot of players, splitting cards is one of their favorite things to do in the game, getting those really nice looking versions of their favorite characters. And so anything that makes that worse while you're still paying the same price that you used to is a really bad look for the game. A big shout out to Lauren. I'll leave a link below in the description to her thread. I would highly suggest supporting it, liking it, reposting it, all that stuff, because that is how we will hopefully get some answers on this front, getting more people aware of it, which is why I'm making this video. I'm just trying to bring a little bit of awareness to this issue. I can say on a personal level, I feel like this is something I've noticed too. I feel like I have noticed that decline in getting good splits and whatnot. So it's very interesting to see that actually be supported in a larger sample of data compared to just, all right, I split, 20 cards or 50 cards or however many over the last month and a half or so. But yeah, so that's the info. That's what's going on with the splits. Let me know what your experience has been like in the comments below. Have you noticed this as well? And again, if you want more information, highly suggest checking out the link in the description below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.